little bit about me for those of you who might not know me. We launched Golden Oak online auctions earlier in the year here because we perceived there was a growing market, and of course now with what's going on in the world, it's even larger. People like to be able to be online to do things in the convenience of their office or their home, and now maybe it's not so convenient, but that's where we're all confined right now. But that's all we do. We're solely online auctions. We don't do public or anything. We will be going to shows, and we're looking forward to the APS show later on here in Connecticut, which is where I'm still living until I get successfully moved back to Texas. But so we're looking forward to the APS show later too. We want to bring philately to all digital platforms. So, you know, a lot of you may be online on your computer, or you're on your laptop, or you're on a tablet, or you could even be doing this on your phone. And I think the idea of what we want to do is make it super easy. And I see all other online platforms working well with continuing our hobby or keeping our hobby going, which I think that's important. And to be able to assist collectors in their collecting, no matter where they're at, whether they're beginning collectors or, you know, maybe you have a gold medal award-winning collection and you just want to buy one more piece, or, you know, you can't help yourself. It's the thrill of the chase, I think. I thought we'd talk just a few points here about doing research, pricing, how it works, the benefits of online bidding and buying, and kind of the things that you need to know before you just start purchasing from someone. So the first one is doing your research. So it's really important to work with auction houses that have ties with accredited associations, one of which is the APS, what we're on right now, but maybe the ASDA, or you always want to look for online houses that have some type of affiliation. Maybe they have it listed, logos listed on their website, but verify that they're actually affiliated with those. In our organization, several of our different consultants are members of all kinds of organizations. Like I mentioned, Collectors Club. There's the Philatelic, you know, the Classic Society, obviously APS, ASDA. There's a myriad of ones, but I think a good rule of thumb is to know that the house you're dealing with has some kind of association with the accredited societies and things. If you have a preferred association, you know, why not tap their resources? You know, call them, ask them. They can give you ideas of where to go and who to trust. And I think probably the most important one, while we can't do that face to face with the social distancing, we can certainly do it online. And ask your friends, ask your colleagues and your cohorts here in Stampdom. You know, who did you sell through, or who did you buy from? Who do you trust? That kind of thing. I think word of mouth is probably good when you hear it from somebody that, you know, is a friend of yours. The next thing is to talk about pricing of items. Check on multiple platforms what you're looking for, what you think it's worth, or what it might be worth, or use your Scott catalog. I put a picture of it here on our, you know, Scott catalog, I think, is probably the quote Bible. I don't, you know, not exactly, but it's certainly a very useful reference tool. And I think oftentimes collectors forget to utilize some of those tools. And don't assume that because you saw something listed on, and I'm just using eBay as an example, but you saw something listed at X number of dollars, that is indeed the right price for it. I think the beauty of online auctions is that an auction house can give you an estimate range, but it's really up to you, the collector and the buyer, to determine what it's worth. You know, you might think it's worth 100 and someone else might think it's worth 500. And so the beauty of that is it falls somewhere in between, or maybe both of you think it's 500 and it, you know, escalates beyond that. But the idea is to do a little bit of research and look at what similar items are going for and figure out what the item's value is to you. And, you know, use your reference tools, whether it's a Scott catalog or it's past auction catalogs. Although now that we've moved into the online side, I think it's better that you can look at prices realized on sites. I know Stamp Auction Network will list prices for all of the various auction houses that are posted there. So I think that's a really useful tool. How it works with an online platform, if you haven't used it before, is it does go a little bit faster. than the traditional. You're not mailing in a bid sheet. You're not waiting for, a catalog comes out and you wait 3 weeks for the live auction. You're able to do everything more in real time. So you can go on to the various platforms and place your bid and almost instantaneously see, oh, what's the new opening bid? Or maybe you've already been outbid and it's not enough, or there's more real-time interaction. And as I mentioned, you don't have to have a printed catalog. Some of those, we've done books that I've felt like a telephone book in the past. You can have it all in literally the palm of your hand if you're looking on your mobile phone or mobile device, or just on your computer, just browsing through, your areas of interest. And I think a lot of the platforms will offer your material with like a table of contents, if you will. So it's sectioned out, and it's easy to hone in on exactly what you're looking for. There Not all online auctions are the same. So when I talk about online bidding and no live aspect, if you go to live bidding online, there are a few different types. The one that probably is more known to everyone would be where you can hear a live auctioneer. It is a benefit to you in that you don't have to spend your time and resources in traveling to an event. I know there's part of me sometimes that misses the public auctions and old school coming together where there were 50 or 100 people in a room, and it was a lot of fun, especially as the auctioneer, to get to call the sale. So we are, our next sale next week, we're going to actually do this same platform. So we won't be in a public auction room, but we'll be in a virtual auction room. So I'll actually get to call the sales again. You can hear, and I like that. There you are, social distancing friendly now, so we can all hear the auctioneer and look at the lots that we want. But I think the other beauty of it is that you can log in and listen and or bid or buy only the items that really interest you. So as opposed to going to the traditional public auction houses where you had to wait for 100 lots or 200 or 500 lots to get to your lot, or 2 or 3 lots that you're interested in, you can simply, jet in and jet out for the 1 or 2 or 10 items that you want. So the other beauty is there's some other ways of online platforms. It can be all computer generated. You don't have to hear anybody talk. They can just, the live auction, I believe they call those, they're like a live auction. There's another word for it, but they start the auction and basically it's computer generated. So it just moves from lot to lot to lot, and it gives you so many seconds for anyone to hop in, do a little bidding, hop out. That's convenient, but it kind of lacks, to me, the social interaction, at least of hearing what's going on. It just gives you a little bit more feel of a public auction but in a virtual space. And then the last one is a timed auction, and that's where you simply can do pre-bidding on any auction for a certain period of time, and then at a designated point in time, everything is closed at once, and the high bidder wins. Doesn't give you as much interaction, I think, and sometimes it is the thrill of the chase and bidding something up. And I used to tease when I called auction, make your neighbor pay. If you can't buy it, make your neighbor pay. So I think that to me was not as interesting to just close an auction at a given time, but there are those platforms out there. We are, as I mentioned, going to transition to doing a live auctioneer style next week with our next auction. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Something you should be aware of when you're bidding with any online platform is, what do you get when you purchase something? What comes with it? We all kind of know what the standard, industry standard buyer's premium range is. It's anywhere from 15 to 20%. If there isn't a premium added to the material, it's typically because it's house owned. And so you just want to be cognizant of that and understand that, while you're not paying a premium, you may be paying like an eBay, buy it now, you might be paying just more of a retail price list. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just need to be aware of it. But if you're paying, and if you're buying with an auction house and you're paying that premium, you want to know, what do you get in return for that? I think you need to ask, can I pay via PayPal, credit card? What forms can I pay that I don't have to pay a fee for? Seems to be a big thing now, is if you charge with a credit card, you're going to pay 2, 3, or even 4%. with some places. I have seen a few as high as 5, but if the fee's included, I think that's a win for you. What are their shipping rates? Sometimes it's just they're going to ship it the way their company wants, and so be aware of how they ship material and what those fees are. Maybe it's just a set fee. So if you buy a $25 item and the item is $25 to ship it, you might want to think about that or be aware of how that works. Another question is, how quickly will your material get shipped? You know, the excitement is that you have bought something and the best feeling is to put it in your album, or maybe it's put it in your stock, or maybe it is send it on to someone that you represented as a dealer or a consultant, and you want to get them the stamps. So knowing how quickly they will send your material out to you, I think is another good point, something to be thinking about. Returns. There is always the occasion that something is misdescribed, or it's gotten damaged in shipping, or you know, in days of old when people could come and look at view material. We're well past that now, I think, but people could damage something and it just went unnoticed. Being able to return an item, I think, is key to a reputable auction house, online or public. And as long as returns are done in a timely manner, it should never be an issue. And there's the occasional where it's a misdescription in that maybe it's a different variety or something that you disagree with what it is. I think there should always be an element of the ability to send it out for expertising. The APS has expertising, the Philatelic Foundation, the PSE. There's several different venues with which you can get material expertised in case there's a question. And so I think a reputable online auction house would be able to offer those things. And the last thing is a fee. Ask yourself, if it's a question of authenticity, the fee should revert back to the consignor. And if it's a question of, well, you think it's something better than what maybe the auction house did, then that fee would fall to you. But again, if you're going to get it expertised and it's a $50 item, but it costs $50 to expertise it, maybe that's not the best, bang for your buck. So always be aware of those few things when it comes to returns. The flip side of this to buying is obviously selling. I think a lot of the same things that we discuss in buying are relevant when it comes to sell. You definitely want to do your research. And again, ask your friends, if someone sold through, company XYZ, how did you like it? How did it work for you? Did, all of the various questions. Again, you want to work with reputable houses that have ties to accredited associations. Just because a new company comes online, if you are not aware of anyone in their staff, or, you might be a little leery of, well, do they have any ties to any other associations, or how long have they been in the business, or, just reputation. I think in philately, reputation has been a big thing, at least from what I've seen over the last 30 years for sure. I think you should know your auction company point of contact. Know who you're going to be dealing with and be able to ask for that person and get a hold of that person. Ask them to help you establish value, what you think is the value and what they think is the value, and understand all of that up front, and discuss what fees. There'll be commissions. For larger properties, people will charge 0, and for smaller properties, they may charge up to 20%. So just be aware of that. And once that's established, get a contract, get it in writing, and arrange for your material to be shipped then with your point of contact person. And a lot of the online houses and public houses will offer you free shipping to bring your material in. So always ask those questions. And lastly, the most important when you're selling material is understand how you're going to get paid. When are you going to get paid? Just how does that work? Is it, slow boat to China? Will you get it in, 3, 4, 5 weeks? Or, will you get it in I think a standard industry standard has been pretty much 45 days, but I think it's important for you to understand that element when it comes to selling. We are excited. I'll give a little plug for us before we finish up here, but We have our next upcoming auction. As I mentioned, we're going to do it live on Stamp Auction Network. It's next Wednesday, and I get to be the auctioneer, so I am really excited about that. So you guys register with Stamp Auction Network or on our website, but we would love to have you join us and see what you think about the online process. And I know Tom talked about opening it up for questions, but I'll end with, I would love to continue the conversations with each of you or any of you anytime. So here's my personal cell phone and my email and our website, and would love to help further with anything, any questions you might have, any knowledge that I have, I'm so happy to share. And again, it was a pleasure to do this.
Yeah, this is Rob Hathaway. I'm a very infrequent bidder on commercial auctions or mail bid sales. I buy a lot from society mail bid sales, but I am a member of Stamp Auction Network. I think in the last 2 years, I might have placed 5 bids, none successful. I'm a low baller. But I guess I just went, while you were talking, I was browsing your website and I only saw 2 sales, February 22nd and March 14th. It's not out there yet?
That's right. Our third one is not up yet. It will be up on April 1st. We've all forgotten what day it is now.
I just looked out on Stamp Auction Network and I'm looking at their calendars. I looked at North American auctions only. What date did you say?
It'll be April 1st when this one will go live. So it's not on there yet, but our last 2 sales are up.
Okay.
You can look under prices live.
That's live for pre-bidding.
Right. It'll be pre-bidding on the 1st, and then the actual live auction will be April the 11th. So there'll be pre-bidding going on all that time, and then at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll go live to have, interactive bidding. So you'll hear me open up lot 1 and off we'll go.
Yeah, I was looking at your February sale while you were talking. I did see a private eye proprietary medicine wounded soldier that I might have bid on, it went unsold. So I'll check it out, but it's very rare for me to spend much on an auction.
I think the idea for us was just to make it a little more accessible, certainly from a travel standpoint too. A lot of times it isn't so much even the money as it is just the time to be away, and this makes it so much easier for people just to jump in and out, just like we're doing on calls like this, to do, find the few things that you like and hone in on those.
Yeah, historically, I mean, I bid and won at show sales, when I've been to a show anyway. And mostly my auction is local club sales and society sales.
And that's a perfect way. And it keeps, I love the hobby. And I think the one thing that I talk about is whenever somebody asks me about selling, I go, well, you don't go bowling every Friday night, and at the end of 10 years after bowling, expect anything in return. And with philately, if you buy well, you can expect some kind of return. It may not be all your money back or more than your money, but it's something.
Exactly.
I think that's
some
a cool
cost
thing
recovery
about our hobby too.
Some cost recovery,
Yeah.
Don't have wild expectations.
But you've had the enjoyment of it too, which
Yeah.
I think is really important.
I buy items and pick out a few and try to sell it on for most of what I paid. And I try to sell on. I've been selling on for 50 years, so I know how it is. I know what to expect.
Anyone else have a question? Anyone else have a question?
I see waving. I don't know if it looks like
John Sokolowski. Unmute yourself.
Experience with the value-added tax from other countries.
Hey, John, you want to start your question over?
Yes, I was asking Tracy if she had any experience with other countries in what is known as the value-added tax.
Yes, I do. I'm not interested in breaking the law. So we fill out the forms. We try to be really good about keeping all of the information about what the value of it is inside, just for security reasons. I don't like using, there's a small little form where you can declare the value on the outside of the package. in my mind, it says steal me. I don't know why you would do that. If someone provides me a VAT number, obviously that's your responsibility, but it's a lot like sales tax. Unfortunately, we all have to pay it, and especially with the online scenario now and Amazon, sales tax in almost virtually every state is now going to be applicable. We are lucky enough right now, we're not at levels that is required in most states just yet, although in our 2 primary locations. But value-added tax, that's just a sticky wicket. I feel like if I have to pay my taxes, you probably should pay your taxes too. So we personally do not, I won't say that here's your item that's $5,000 and I'm going to declare it as $50. I won't do that. There are a lot of, the VAT is not applicable on antiquities in a lot of countries. So if you buy something that's over 100 years, and face it, a lot of the earlier stamps were well beyond that, there is no tax. So part of it is doing your due diligence and understanding that too. So you should not be subjected to that if your material is over the 100 years, considered an antiquity.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mailed an item to a trading partner in Edinburgh last week in a small flat rate priority box. And I sent him a picture of it, and it had the customs form on there, you know, $20 value. And he was a little concerned. He said, well, you should have just said it was a gift of no value. He might have to pay a couple bucks on it. I don't know. But
I have had some instances where even if it's a gift, then they'll determine what the value of it is. My husband and I actually bought something and sent it back, and my mother got it and had to pay a tax on it. So it just kind of depends. But I don't think that, this is just me personally, I think that you should be pretty up and up when it comes to that. So.
well, you can't go turn in a small priority mail international box without the customs form on it. They require it.
That is right.
Second question, have you had any experience with a customer of yours asking to be paid in pounds, silver, sterling?
Yes, and we can facilitate that if we need to. It's just a simple currency exchange, but we can do that. I typically will tend to tell them, figure out which rate works best for you before we pay the fees, you know, to do the exchange rate. But there's a lot of places where it's quite advantageous to do it. Western Union actually is one of the less expensive when it comes to the exchange rate, but we can certainly do that. And I'm sure there's plenty of online auction. With PayPal, you can pay in virtually any currency. If you send it in dollars, but you want the individual to receive it in another currency, they can do that.
Yeah, the reason why I asked the question is it seems like the markets with the virus are changing. So the values of pound sterling versus American dollar versus the Canadian dollar, they're all in turmoil right now. Right. So if you bid something on a certain day, that value may change by the time you receive your purchase.
Right. If you bid on it, the key would be if you're bidding and you are working against the markets, you want to pay for it quickly then.
Yep.
Any other questions, Tracy? No?
I'm seeing a, I can't tell, Tom, a chat of some sort?
Yeah, nothing, let's see. No, nothing for you right now on the chat box.
Okay.
Anyone else? So tell us again then about your upcoming auction.
We're excited about this one. We've got a neat little section of autographs. It's kind of funny. We've expanded into autographs a little bit. One of the cool things that we have is a Matthew Ridgway, General Ridgway, signed, or well, he initialed a speech that General Westmoreland was giving to the 82nd Airborne Division. So I think that's kind of cool, but it also comes with the envelope and postmark on it from Washington, from where it was sent. So kind of ties it into philately a little bit too, but I like that. But we've got lots of US stamps, and we have a special section of Germany this time. And we have some more advertising covers and worldwide postal history. And we have a nice little literature section this time. It's harder and harder to sell books, but online makes it a little bit easier. But there's a nice little section of great books. We do have a couple of ones that we're doing a little bit larger. We've got 9 or 10 books in a grouping for the beginning collectors. So I think it's a cool opportunity maybe for people to buy something for their kids or their grandkids to start teaching them about stamps. Again, this is a cool hobby, and I think the way to continue it and to get people interested and involved in it more is this online platform and online platforms in general. Because, you know, the millennials want to be online. They like that. So I think we have to keep up the interest there.
I would agree. Any other questions for Tracy? You have been very thorough in your presentation. So it appears that everyone here has a greater understanding of your business, online auctions, buying, selling. So Tracy, appreciate your time today. And this video will be uploaded to YouTube and be available probably later this afternoon there. So look for it on the APS YouTube channel. So thanks everybody for taking part, and have a good day.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Tracy.